What if I told you that if you practice this tapping skill for the next week, not only would you level up your rhythm and lead playing, but you might even become the next guitar sensation too. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you how tapping can work in any genre, how to add this technique into your playing, and how long it should take you before you're able to start using this technique. If you don't know who I am, I help intermediates become advanced players. This was me when I used to sound like an intermediate. Frankly, I was not very proud of my playing. However, with enough time and dedication to the instrument, I did actually manage to considerably improve my craft on the instrument. And I show you this to give you a bit of hope for your own journey as well. I just want to inspire you and make sure that you can also do the same thing. If you're interested in guitar lessons, there is a link to start one-on-one with me, and there is also a link to a growing Discord community of like-minded guitarists on a journey to improve their craft. Have you ever wondered why guitar comes so naturally to some of the GOATs? People like Jimi Hendrix, people like Eddie Van Halen, some might say people like John Mayer. You might be thinking that they know something complex which you aren't aware of yet. Well, this isn't really true. When you break things down on this instrument, anything that is supposedly advanced is just a combination of multiple basic techniques put together. As long as you know how to play a scale shape up and down the neck, you have everything you need to follow along with this video. We're just combining two basic, simple concepts, a scale shape and tapping. Quickly, if you don't know how tapping works on your instrument, you take your picking hand and you literally just press down on the fret. So if I was to do that on my guitar, take my fretting hand and I just press it down on the fretboard. It's the same as a hammer-on with your left hand, but you're doing it with your picking hand instead. And tapping is not just for shredders. There is a misconception that only people that are playing metal music are going to be able to use this technique. Well, that is not the case. I want to show you some examples of how you could possibly take inspiration and add this into your playing. So with tapping, you could play a phrase like this. Sounds pretty cool, right? You could do just small little things like that. You don't have to do a lot. You don't have to do this fancy shredding kind of thing. You could even do stuff like this when you're playing chords. I don't know about you, but personally I think that sounds quite beautiful. And once you get really advanced, you could even start doing stuff like this. Again, all of those right there, great examples of people utilizing this technique on the guitar, and they're not shredding. We're going to learn how to use tapping tastefully today and implement this technique musically. So how do we do this? You most likely have all the tools you already need to start adding this technique into your playing. Right now, you're like a kid with a Lego box full of random assorted pieces. You have every single piece you need to build a really cool Lego set. It's just you don't know where you're supposed to start. All the pieces are jumbled up. You can't really see a path to creating something cool yet. So we're going to start simple, and we're going to look at everything inside the A minor pentatonic shape. So we're going to combine two shapes together here. We have shape 1 around here. Hopefully you already know how to play this, but we start around here on the 5th fret. And we also want to look at shape 2 as well, because if we're going to add tapping into our playing, we need to be able to visualize the scale shapes above where our fretting hand sits on the fretboard, and then with our picking hand, play and tap these shapes that we can see above, right? So we also need to look at shape 2 quickly. That's around here, around the 8th fret. So what we're going to do is we're going to play we're going to take one string and we're going to play. Literally, it's that simple, right? I want you to play 2 notes with your fretting hand, and then with your picking hand, the one that you're going to tap with, you literally just tap the next scale degree up that string. Right? It's that simple. That's how you start adding this into your playing. And once you kind of get familiar with all the shapes above that, you can kind of do some more kind of advanced stuff there. But at its simplest form, what you're doing is you're taking the scale shape you already know, visualizing the scale shape above it, and just tapping that with your picking hand. And when you start adding a load of hammer-ons and pull-offs, you get these kind of cool kind of sounds. And that's if you want to do the kind of shreddy stuff, right? You saw in that clip earlier where John Mayer was doing this. What he does is he taps the scale degree above, and he does a very slight bend. So this is the simplest way to do it when we are looking at adding and tapping into our lead lines. All we have to do is just visualize where the next scale shapes are above us on the fretboard. Now, what if we want to start doing this with chords, like one of the other examples I showed you earlier, right? It starts getting interesting when we start to combine triad shapes with tapping onto scale positions. So again, if we look at the A minor pentatonic, we have this A minor triad all the way in shape 1. What we want to be able to do is visualize the pentatonic shapes above that and play this chord and tap around the notes that are on the scale degrees above. Right? So just take a triad shape and tap around the scale degrees above. And again, we have this A minor triad here, and we also know that C major is our relative major key for A minor. So if we play this C major triad and play the exact same scale shapes, we have the exact same place to tap on the fretboard as well. So, when we combine both of those triads together and we mess around with the scale, we can kind of vamp around this kind of cool idea. We can create a cool chord progression and practice going between 2 chords. So we can go like... Again, just coming up with stuff on the fly. But this is essentially what you're doing, is you're pairing a chord shape with a scale and then just tapping on the notes with your picking hand in order to do these cool tapping lines. And if you already know how to play your scales and where chords line up with them, then you can start adding this to your playing fluently within just 1 week, right? Whenever you're practicing or improvising throughout the week, start thinking about visualizing where the scale shapes are above where you're currently playing with your fretting hand. Then just tap the notes above where you're playing the scale shape or the chord you're currently playing and just see what happens. Again, this is all about messing around and finding out. You're going to figure it out as you try and attempt these things. You're never going to be able to theorize your way through it without actually ever trying to play. But the thing is that none of this is going to really work if you don't know any of your scale shapes all across the fretboard. So you're going to want to check out this video to fix that problem.